Joining us now in the studio is Zeev Kirtchuk, who happens to be both my uncle and the former political advisor to Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you, Erin. Yeah.
So you were in charge of all of his national tours. What was it like to serve under such a powerful political figure, both nationally and internationally?
Well, I should say that, first of all, when I served him, I was a very young person, 24 when I started. And of course, it was a big, huge privilege and a huge honor to serve him, especially for a young person, but not only. As you said, he was very known and very respectful in Israel and outside Israel. Of course, when you are serving such a person, you must be as serious as you can be. We are talking about a person that was before Prime Minister. Before that, he was the Israeli ambassador for the United States. Before that, he was Chief of Staff. So we are talking about a very, very special person.
Yeah, a very serious person.
Very serious person, of course, and you can imagine that it was something once in a life.
And you were very close to him, you know, just beyond actually working with him. You became very close to him. So
right.
What happened, you know, not only affected you, but really affected your team emotionally. I mean, that's something that ruins people, especially who have just started out their career in a lot of senses. Can you tell us about the day that Rabin was assassinated?
Yes, of course. The date was Saturday night. Actually, I came before him, like 5 p.m. to the square, which the name was in those days Kikar Malchei Israel.
The King's Plaza.
Yes. It was full of people. It was a very special day for all of us. It was not easy to make it, not easy to make him come, and you can imagine that when it happened, it was a huge shock for all of us. Actually, when it happened, no one understood really what is happening. I remember that a few minutes after he was shot, I saw Yigal Amir very close to me, and I didn't understand that he is the guy. And only after a few minutes I understood that this is the guy, and that something really big occurred.
That just happened, yeah.
Yeah, and I ran fastly to the hospital. I went down to the surgery rooms, and of course,
what happened happened. Yeah. Now, and you know, as someone who was so involved in his fight for peace, did it feel like the chance for peace was killed at the same time that he lost his life?
No, we felt that of course it will not be the same country as it was few minutes before. Something very big was broken, not only his murders, but the democracy, and that it will be a different country. I must say that I personally felt that the process of peace will continue, and I still believe that the process of peace will continue. We have a delay, of course, a big delay, but I think that the peace is in the future to come.
And that we can actually attain it.
Of course, I think that what he did, it's what Israel should do, and it will come.
He was, also kind of a controversial character even within politics because he was considered to be a right-winger in the Labour Party, which is left-wing. Why was that?
Because we are talking about, as I said, as I mentioned a few seconds ago, he was the chief of staff. He was the chief of staff during the Six-Day War.
Right.
He was Mr. Defense, or we say in Hebrew, Mar Bitachon. He was known as I will say the father of all of us. The Israelis on those days felt they can count with him.
To lead the army as well.
To lead to lead us, to lead the people, to lead the army. He was a person that knew about security more than anybody else. So when we're talking about such a person, it was very obvious that he will be not the left hand of the left
when it comes
Labour
to dealing with
Party.
Palestinians in defense situation.
He will reach for the peace, but for the security also. He used to say, we have to fight for peace. But first of all, we have to feel secure, and we need to have all the guarantees that the security of the state of Israel will remain.
So what do you think the legacy is that he's leaving behind now? When people commemorate his life and think about what took place 21 years ago, what is the hope?
First of all, I think that the first point or first stage of his legacy is the democracy. We have to secure the Israel democracy. You know that 2 years before he was murdered, he was very attacked for many right-wingers, but attacked very powerful.
There was a lot of rising violence and
Yes.
tension over what he was trying to do with the peace accords.
Yes, and he was very concerned about it, very, very concerned about it, and we were very concerned about it, about the way they attacked him in every place, even in his house, even in his private house, everywhere. And in the day that he was murdered, in his speech that he gave there, he was talking about the pilotes, the basis of democracy of Israel are shaking.
Right, because people weren't respecting that democratic order that you have.
Exactly.
Right.
So it was very important for him, and I think that his murder showed us that we have to keep democracy alive and very carefully, but because the democracy is not for granted.
Absolutely. Well,
so I think that this is his first legacy. The second is the fight for peace. We have to keep fight for the peace. Of course, in the same time, to fight for the security of Israel, but not to leave the peace behind. We have to search for the peace. Those are the two most important legacies that he left us, and if we will do both, we will have a good future here.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming in. I guess we can only hope for peace now.
Thanks for inviting me.